Hey you guys, how are all of you doing? I'm the EFC, this is Blue Line CV, and today I'm here to bring you guys the pre-match build-up show before our upcoming game later tonight, 8:15 against Manchester City. The team news has come up, you guys. We are going to discuss the team news, give our thoughts and opinions on how we feel the game is going to go as well. Some big things to speak about. I have on two very special guests who I'm going to introduce very soon. However, before I kickstart anything, I have a little quick video to introduce you guys to some AAA Sport. They asked me to give my thoughts and opinions on the Roy Keane debate. So, you guys, 2 minutes. Here it is right now. Not that one. Now, I've been asked to weigh in and give my thoughts and opinions on this Roy Keane debate. If you guys don't know exactly what I'm speaking about, I'm speaking about Roy Keane's brutal criticism of David De Gea. Now, I understand both sides of the argument. You know, Roy Keane, we have to understand the context of the player. We have to understand his background, the environment he used to play in back in the days of the 90s. This guy played for one of the most prestigious Man United teams of all time. So he's going to have a certain level of standards that he needs to see week in, week out if any player is lucky enough to play for Manchester United. So in that sense, he is allowed to criticize De Gea. However, there is a fine line between criticism and abuse. And for me, when I heard Roy Keane just rant and go on, it painted a picture and a narrative of maybe how squads and dressing rooms used to be back in his days. You know, the toxic masculinity, you know, the bullying culture as well. Roy Keane was making comments like he would have punched De Gea after the game. He was making comments like he wouldn't be allowed on the team bus. You'd have to get a taxi all the way back home. Not every player comes from that background where you can understand that tough love and you can hear criticism like that and really just spur yourself on and get self-motivated. It's not like that all the time, and for me, it was just way too personal from Roy Keane because you have to understand that this isn't the first time that he has criticised De Gea. He's done this time and time again, so in that sense, I can understand the frustration and why he finally just said what he had to say and just finally get it out there. But in today's world where we are learning from the mistakes we made back in the day, it's not tolerated. You know, this level of criticism on TV so publicly as well, really embarrassing the player, isn't constructive, it doesn't work, and I don't necessarily agree with how Roy Keane spoke about the player. But that's only my opinion, you guys. Give your opinions. I'm going to link you the full video from AAA Sport. It's going to be in the card above and in the description, and make sure you guys comment in that video's comment section. I'm going to interact with a few of you, so make sure you give me some interesting debates and talking points. And now we continue on with the rest of this pre-match build-up.
Is the right word you would use to describe me and my outlook when it comes to when we play big teams. I think we are going to get absolutely battered today. I mean, we've conceded 40 goals in 30 games. Our defence, it's not been the best this season. We're going up against one of the best attacks in Europe. I'll have a little bit of faith. I'll be a little bit positive, and I'll say, you know, I think we can get something. But it's really up to the football gods on this one. I'm not very confident at all.
Oh, fair enough. Matis, how are you feeling, man? Do you feel like you're seeing enough positivity in this lineup that something can happen tonight?
I'm not too confident, I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at this lineup. The midfield really does worry me, especially with controlling the game. We don't have a real controller in that midfield. And if I look back to the game at the Etihad where we had 53% possession, you know, we kind of held our own in that game, and we only really had a mistake with Emerson against Mahrez that kind of cost us, and a few other individual errors, but we went toe-to-toe with them away from home, and I was really impressed with us. This game here, with that midfield and the lack of real authority, I would say, and controller in there, either Gilmour or Jorginho, and player of the year Kovacic on the bench as well, all three of them, I really do worry, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing the lineup, some very big surprises. I mean, Zuma and Christensen, for me, this could be like the final opportunity to see whether this partnership can actually work out. Because if it could save us a ton of money. Because I do like both players as individuals. I think that Zuma brings some uniqueness to the team. I think Christensen brings uniqueness too. Let's hope that they can find that right uniqueness together, which I think they can do. I think in reality, they haven't really played too many games together. I think that's just the honest truth of things. So today could be a great indication that, okay, there could be a future for these two as our centre backs. But I'm seeing the team here, Aspie, Reece James. It seems to be quite obvious. You know, that midfield, it did help us dominate the possession against them last time. So against Man City, that's always something great. I'm just worried about maybe the counter-attacking threat. That is my only concern. I think we have the options on the bench to help us out if that was the case, though. But Louis, who do you feel is that key number one player you're looking out for right now? Like you're hoping is going to have that big impact in the game later on.
I'm having a look at the lineup, and I think Olivier Giroud could be a big player for us against Man City. Obviously, in his past 3 starts against them, scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
He's looking to score in his 3rd consecutive game for the first time since January 2017. And I think, look, if I look at that back line, look, Laporte, obviously big, one of the best centre backs in the league currently. Fernandinho, despite being a quality player, he hasn't got the height. So I think maybe that could be something that Giroud could exploit, and obviously have Pulisic and Willian running off of him. I think he could be the biggest threat for us today. I think it'd be a really useful tool to have up front. But I mean, in terms of the lack of control, I do want to touch on that, Matisse. I was looking at it. I mean, look, I don't think controlling the possession against Manchester City should have been our main priority, because I think realistically, even though he did in the previous game, which that was several months ago, and they seem to be dominating the ball and dominating games themselves, obviously since the restart, which is something we kind of, you know, we have to look at because it is almost a brand new season. I don't think that was as important. I am a bit worried about Barkley in that midfield. That is one thing I do want to say, because his game management is poor, I think is the best way to say it. And I think that could be something which could cost us massively. You know, De Bruyne, there was obviously talk that he could potentially be out injured. He's not. He's starting. That's something to worry about. Obviously, Rodri has had a pretty good season. He does the stuff which people don't really see, which is what I do like to look out for in a player. And Gundogan, in terms of controlling the ball, that midfield, 9 times out of 10, is going to be doing that. I think, obviously, Mason Mount could be another key player. Offers a lot of, you know, physicality for someone of his stature, and obviously, you know, in terms of just making those runs and the high energy, he can do that, which is going to be very big in terms of the counter attacks, which is clearly what we could be doing as an outlet here. And I think it's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. I'm not 100% certain that we would dominate possession. I'm not 100% certain how it will go, but you know, City do have the technical class above us in terms of what we're going to be looking at. So I think it might actually have to come down to, you know, the brute force in midfield, which I'm surprised Kovacic isn't in there, as we said, and it'll come down to the technical ability and pace on the wings.
You know what's really embarrassing? I had the wrong lineup up. The wrong one. I swear I got the one from the Twitter page. Obviously, I'm setting this up in advance, so I can't see what's happening.
Did you take that from the fake Twitter page that was made?
Oh my god, they got me. I was seeing Zuma and Christensen. You guys didn't even correct me. Like, Zuma and Christensen, what the hell is this guy talking about right now? But
that
is an L.
I wasn't even sure we were live, because I was on your channel. So I was going through the comments and I was going, where is it? I can't find it. And then you sent the link.
Yeah. They really got me, you guys. Honestly, like, who's even taking the time out here to make a fake Chelsea account to put up a fake lineup? It's really good,
isn't it? I've seen what you're looking at, and it's a really good edit.
Exactly. It's like you don't even second guess. I saw in the chat. Thank God you guys that hooked me. Like, they must have been shouting at me for like a good 5 minutes saying it's the wrong lineup. I'm giving my tactical insight about Zuma and Christensen together. I should have known that was too good to be true. I mean, I'm looking at this lineup now. I'm starting to understand why you guys are a bit scared now. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I mean,
Aspie. Oh, good lord! It's gonna be
just to touch on what Louis said, I think as well. I have to disagree with the possession, because I think if we don't give ourselves at least go toe-to-toe. I'm not saying dominate possession, because we're never going to do that, but at least go 50-50. The more we don't have the ball is the more we have to defend. And we know this team can't actually defend. You know, individually, each one of them can't defend. You look at when we was defending from deep, counter-attacking under Conte, etc. We had a good goalkeeper who was good at shot stopping, who could have a high volume of shots and keep us in games. We had good defenders who could do last ditch tackles, defending low blocks, make minimal mistakes.
Yeah.
You give up possession against Manchester City, you're kind of just asking for them to break you down, because they will break you down. That's 100%. So for me, to have any chance in this game was to really go 50-50 in possession and try and keep some of the ball and relieve the pressure. If we get stuck in a low block and play hoofball, you may as well just call this game done, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think you know, it sounds very cynical, but I do agree. I think that there is this team screams counter-attack for me. I'm really interested to see how Barkley's going to do, because I remember that game where we lost 6-0 against them. He was like one of the main reasons why we lost that, because he kept getting caught out non-stop from Man City's midfield. But you know, I'm looking at this lineup, I'm thinking, you know what, as long as we have a positive first half, we have options on the bench. You know, we've got Jorginho, James, Cover, Loftus, Abraham. You know, we have players that can turn the tide, and maybe this lineup does reflect who's like the most, you know, the fittest players in the team right now. I think there could be a fair shout behind that, because Lampard normally has been forced to make decisions like that. But you know, I'm looking at Giroud. I agree with you guys. I think he'll give us that bit of a focal presence, which I think is really just further emphasizing the counter-attacking game plan today. You know, we can play balls long to him, so he can like hold the ball up and, you know, bring the other guys into midfield. It seems Kante again playing as a DM. You know, I think maybe, I mean, he could be part of a flat midfield three, but for me, it looks like he's going to be a DM. Louis, how are you feeling about Kante as a DM? Do you think that this is like a genius tactical stroke by Lampard, or you're thinking, does Kante even have the techers to play deeper?
I think, well, Kante's proven that he does have the ability to play that deeper. Right? It might not be the same as what Jorginho can do or Gilmour can do, but, you know, for him, it looked like against Villa, it was a case of intercept the ball, pass it off to the more creative players, and just keep recycling possession. I think, as we've said, and, you know, I now agree with what Matisse saying, it makes more sense than what I was saying. It's one of those where I think that if he's got the ability to obviously destroy the play, get the ball and release it, and do the simple stuff well, which is something that we are going to need to do a lot more in this game. Like we've already said, he can do it. I think that's what he's there to do. He can play as a defensive midfielder. He's done it in the past. I don't doubt his ability. But it's the people in front of him. I mean, Mason Mount's had a good season so far.
Yeah.
But Ross Barkley looks like every time he gets the ball, he's just screaming in his head. Like, he gets the ball and just starts going, ah! It's just like, I don't even know what to think about that.
I do agree with you there. I think the deeper, I find the higher up the pitch Ross Barkley is in terms of being in a creative role, the more freedom he has. And if he has less time to think, I think he's better. I think when you give him time on the ball and you put him low into a low part of the team in a deeper area where you have to control, you're under pressure from attackers to be press resistant, I think that's when he starts struggling to have like brain farts. I think just to give some sort of positive, I think Pulisic is a great thing in that team. I was really worried about him not starting. I think he's our best winger at the moment in terms of just output. And obviously we're going to need to take our chances. And, you know, even though I wouldn't say any of our forwards are particularly prolific, I think he certainly has the potential to be, and I'm happy to see him in there as well, especially with the way Man City push their fullbacks up. You'd want someone who's going to take advantage of that space. So yeah, it's a rough one, but you know, it's Chelsea, so we can never rule them out for sure.
You know, even touching on Pulisic, I think throughout the entire previews I've been mentioning that I need to see my guy getting some support in the final third. So I think there's going to be even more responsibility on Ross Barkley, because I'm assuming he'll play as the 8 on the left-hand side of the midfield. He's going to be important for like, you know, moving into that space that Pulisic vacates as he like drifts in field and stuff. And yeah, the fear could be that if he doesn't get that proper support, he could be left isolated throughout the game. And if that's the case, that could really affect what we can do. But, you know, in that sense, even though it's not our strongest team on paper, I guess maybe the tactical idea, you know, the tactical plans, I could see something working. You know, in a sense, it's kind of reminding me of my lineup. Yeah, of course, the person aren't the same, but like the approach of being ambitious and trying to like take the game to Man City is what I'm seeing with that midfield. You know, Mount, Barkley, they've done great things against Liverpool and Everton. So I think we should maybe remain a bit optimistic that they can do something against Man City today. You know, they standout games where they were the main reasons why we won both games against those teams. And with Kante behind them, mopping up the danger, giving us that counter-attacking, prevention presence, maybe this midfield isn't looking as weak as we think. But of course, who's maybe one player, starting with you, Mattis, that you're fearing could be found out today?
I have to look at obviously someone in the defense. I think Alonso always does worry me in a flat back four against top quality opposition. I know he had a decent game against Man City last time he played them, and it was actually Emerson who was at fault for the goal at the Etihad. But it's still, you know what it is with Alonso is he's very much Russian roulette. You're either going to get a good performance or you're not, and it's very much a risk. And obviously I know Reece James was extremely shaky in his game against Aston Villa when he came on the cameo, so I guess he's obviously not match sharp, or Lampard just wants to go with experience. I think Christensen is big because you know what, with Christensen we all hail him, or a lot of people hail him for his positioning, his concentration, his passing ability. For me, I feel like his passing is a little bit overrated in comparison to like a David Luiz of old in the back three. But I think obviously in comparison maybe to others, maybe, you know, people rate his passing ability in comparison to a Rudiger. But his concentration is going to have to be up, man, because he was very much sleeping on that goal against Villa. You know, it was Rudiger that was actually tracking back. I know Rudiger made mistakes in that game, but he did, you know, fall asleep for that goal. And you can see in the replay, he's very much just standing still, flat-footed. And with the likes of Raheem Sterling in a false nine, you know that front line's going to be fluent. When Man City play, they're all going to be drifting into different spaces, getting in between the lines. You need to be concentrating, and it's up to that defensive two, Rudiger and Christensen, to have their crap together. To be honest, as blatantly as I can put it.
Yeah, like the fear of these guys too is that too often there is that individual mistake. You know, I think with Rudiger especially, I thought that he doesn't strike me with the most confidence. Now, do you guys feel that Rudiger is like like our number one defender? Like Louis, who would you even say is like our number one defender right now?
Straight up, no. Kurt Zouma has probably had the most consistent season. I think, look, the best pairing we've had this season, when it was consistent, it was Zouma and it was Tomori. That was the best pairing we've had. Yeah. And obviously Tomori's had a lot of injury problems, and that's been a big thing. But they complemented each other well, where you almost had... Tomori was almost a sweeper because of his pace, and then you just have Zouma, who was just pure power, sat next to him. And obviously it's not, you know, the same thing as having, you know, a ball playing centre half, which, you know, a lot of people love to talk about now, you know, saying they need to be able to pass. I mean, the key word for me is defender. And I don't think really can do that as well as he used to. He's clearly not been the same since that injury he had last season under Sarri, and obviously I can't remember what game that was that he got it as well, but it was bad. Obviously he was ruled out for quite a long time, came back, didn't look the same player. Just want to insinuate quickly before we go a bit forward in the comments, I'm not saying it was Sarri's fault, I'm just saying it was the Sarri season. So we can see what's up. Oh my god. He's not the same. I think Zuma's our most powerful presence. I think Christensen, he has improved, obviously, since Lampard came out and said that he considers him a key component of the side. But as Matisse has already correctly pointed out, in that game against Villa, he did look a bit shaky, but so did Rudiger. And I hate to use my own argument against me. Saying, you know, if they play a good game, we have a good result, it's a good game. If they look shaky against Aston Villa, I worry against Manchester City. You know, I still have flashbacks to that 6-0 and going up there and having to sit and watch that.
Good Lord.
That was... I wouldn't even say that was the worst game as a Chelsea fan, but, you know, it was up there. But I think Rudiger, in terms of leadership qualities and presence, definitely probably one of the best players at Chelsea to have that right now. But in terms of just as a defender, face value, I'm not convinced. That worry.
I agree, man. I think because, you know, we're Chelsea fans, we've been used to seeing some absolute elite level defenders at this club. Even the ones that haven't even been praised, like your Alex's. Remember Alex back in the day? He was, what a great defender he was too. And you would say that he's like much better than a Rudiger. Now, with Rudiger, I do like him. I like his personality. Technique wise, very good on the ball too. Very vocal. I think that's one thing that we miss out on with Zouma and the rest too. At least Rudiger's, you know, defending's a partnership. You can't just have two individuals doing their thing. You need to have that relationship, and communication is important for that. We know communication is important for any relationship, but I don't know, with Rudy, I feel like the reason why he's not like consistent all the time is that I think he gets a bit too overconfident. I think he's one of those guys that gets way too gassed at times, and that he'll just like do unnecessary things, like take risks that he doesn't have to do, because I guess he's been a bit bored as the game has gone on. I don't know.
Just to touch on that, I personally, I don't see any leader in this backline. I have to be honest. I mean, I look at that backline, I really don't see that leadership from any of them. And I know Rudiger does shout a lot, but for me, even from set pieces, I see Tammy Abraham organising more than Rudiger at times. You know, the amount of times I see a set piece and Tammy's at the near post and he's shouting and he's pointing people in position, and I'm seeing Rudiger lose headers against attackers. I think back to Newcastle away where he lost his man. It's just I really don't see it, man. I don't see it.
But let's not even forget against Aston Villa, you know, I think McGinn got in front of him twice from like corners and crosses inside the box, like twice. And I think that's like what I've always noticed in Rudy's game that hasn't really like improved and gone to the next level. So, you know, I've got big hopes from Christensen. I think with Christensen, most of his mistakes aren't like due to fundamentals in his game. I think a lot of it's come down to, of course, injuries and never playing consistently. You know, I think under Sarri, I don't know why Sarri just completely just ostracized the guy from the team, not giving him a fair opportunity. I did not think that was right for him at all. And I think that took Christensen a while to just get that confidence back. But I think defensively, a lot of times we see defenders with us constantly focusing on like the tackle that's been made, or like the interception, like the you know, the thing that looks aesthetically like pleasing and like obvious. But you know, defending a lot of times it's in your head. You know, it's about how you even setting your body 100%. Position up, how you like what positions are you taking up on the field, how are you gonna like shout out your marker, how are you gonna like close the spaces down, so many things like that, which Christensen does do very well. And when he has the ability to just play beautifully, I love his passing technique. I think the guy's got great technique for the. He looks like he can play midfield. That's how good his technique is. So I'm just hoping. I would like to see his game go to the next level. If he can like develop those, you know, those passes between the lines, those, you know, those deep cross-field passes to kickstart moves. If he could do that, I think he gets even better, to be honest. But I think we've spoken enough about the defense. I think it's time to now move on to areas we feel we can really tackle this Man City team. Now I'm going to start with you, Louis. What do you think is a major weakness that Man City have that you feel we can exploit?
Have a little butchers, shall we? I think Fernandinho could be the major one, just purely because of height. If you have Giroud next to him in a corner, I think that could be the best one. And to be honest, like Mahrez has had a good season for City, but he does sometimes, if he's marked out of the game, he can just become completely useless. So if Marcos Alonso can do something, please, if he could do something about that could be another area. But yeah, I think those are really the only two weak points in this City team. Again, like I said, I just see that team, I want to cry, because I'm just so worried we're going to get absolutely torn apart. Because obviously I think the other, it's like there's no atmosphere. So obviously when we beat them last season at home, it was bouncing. Like that play a big part. Obviously for a lot of clubs, atmosphere can be a big thing. This is literally going to be 22 blokes going head to head and seeing who comes out on top. And I just look at that City team in every single position.
Yo, you guys, come on, we're Chelsea fans. We got to start keeping the faith and the optimism. Now, I'm looking at that City team. I'm kind of happy to see Aspie playing left back for once, because I think he could do something against Mahrez today. Obviously going 1v1. Hopefully that could give us that counter-attacking threat down the left somehow. You know, City with De Bruyne, he's the one player I'm really scared of. But I feel now with Kante playing in the middle, hopefully he could really be effective at stopping that, you know, that space that De Bruyne normally plays in and exploits. But Matisse, you know, I know you're seeing this Man City lineup. Who are you scared of right now?
I agree with Louis. I think Fernandinho, as good as he is for holding midfield, I think centre back, if we can get some sort of delivery, and this is why I was hoping Reece James would be fully fit, or at least in the team, because I think he's the best crosser in the club, bar none. You know, with Hudson-Odoi injured especially, Reece James is really the only reliable crosser I see in the team, and I think he would have been putting it on a plate for Giroud up against Fernandinho. I think Pep's paid a bit of respect to Chelsea here. I think, you know, it's a strong team, but he hasn't gone with an out-and-out striker in Jesus or Aguero. I don't know if Aguero's fit. He may be injured. He's not on the bench.
Aguero's unfit.
That's how you know Man City have depth. Like, everyone assumed that they were going to field a weaker team, which was never going to be the case. And like, Pep's idea of weakness is not actually using a proper striker and using someone else instead. So that's obviously the type of depth that we need to have for next season. But maybe that's a point we can touch on as we end this. Just keep things a bit optimistic, you know. But continue on, man.
he's also gone with two, you know, theoretically holders or sitters in Gundogan and Rudy Rodrigo. So maybe, you know, maybe he's playing it a little bit more cautious, and he's, you know, I mean, I'm clutching at straws here, to be honest, because the attackers that he has in his arsenal is ridiculous, to be honest. I'm really hoping that, like I said, we can exploit the Giroud-Fernandinho matchup, but that would require someone crossing the ball, and we're gonna need everyone.
I know who's gonna do that.
I mean, I don't mean to be harsh, but I think we all know the stats for the Villa game in terms of crosses completed, and I know the two in this game from
you guys
Aston.
don't know on stream.
What are you talking about?
He attempted 37 crosses, only 7. But most importantly, we got 2 assists from them.
Let's just say the crossing against Villa in the first half was iffy. So yeah, they're just gonna need to get their crossing boots on, in my opinion. And really try and hit that Giroud versus Fernandinho matchup.
I've heard Louis Beneventi's available on a free if they want to sign him.
yeah, one day, man, one day. But
we all saw your performance in Baku.
Yeah, you ain't forgetting that one.
George was off the line. He's a cheating bastard, but I do love him, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you know what, you guys. You know, because I'm just like an eternal optimist. You know, I've been a fan of this club since I was like a kid. I've been at every single like big game. I've been to the games where I thought we were never going to do anything, and then something happens. Yeah. My one positive is that bench we have, because we have real options. Yeah. If the first half goes well, because let's not completely just write off the guys in the team just yet. If we fight hard, close the spaces, work hard, and if it goes into 0-0 second half, you know, Man City have played more games than us, so you know, feel it a bit more. And if Lampard's gonna make like a, you know, like the United game yesterday, like what do you even call like 5 subs coming out at the same time?
A
quintuple or subs or whatever.
No, not quintuple. That's quint. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, it's just five man coming on basically. You know what I mean? Exactly. 5 guys coming on. I think I see the options. I see James, I see Ruben, I see Abraham, Cover, Gilmore. Yeah. We have guys that can influence the dynamics of this game and make something happen. So listen, I have full trust in Frank Lampard. I think he's a manager that knows what he's doing. I think he's got the short-term and long-term thinking. We're seeing the long-term with his plans for next season, the players we've already signed and the guys we're looking to bring in. And I think every game we played against big teams this season, we have competed, and most times we have been the better team on paper, like football-wise. You know, we've created the most chances, dominated the game more, etc., etc. So he knows how to instill that big game mentality in the team. He knows how to get these guys to, you know, really play with, you know, really express himself and show themselves. So I know this lineup isn't looking as amazing. It's completely like surprised all of us. I'm sure it surprised Pep too. He had no idea that this was going to be happening. But you know, let's not completely write this team off, you know, just yet, you guys. But
no, it's a good point. Good point. I mean, our bench is actually stronger than Man City's. I'm just looking at Man City's bench now. Obviously, Aguero's out, Foden's out.
Yeah.
Sané's probably, his head is probably not in it anymore. I think he's obviously leaving. So, in terms of players that can come on and change the game, we've definitely got an advantage on them in that. So, as you said, if we can get through the first half, then anything can happen, I think.
Yeah, like I'm seeing a guy called Doyle on their bench here with Perez, Palmer. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with their youth team, but as you see, there's literally no options really. I'm that old man Silva coming on to do something, maybe. Jesus is the only real one.
Make a big difference in goal.
Yeah, of course, Carson can come on and just like make some madness happen. But that's what I mean. They don't really have any options. So the longer this game goes on with Man City not in the lead or doing anything, it does boost our chances to turn this game around. You know, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You know, but of course, I think now before we wrap things up, I think it's time to speak about score predictions. So Matthias, I know, I know you got some thoughts. How are you feeling?
I did score predictions already actually this week as well for Cheeky Sports. So I guess I can't really.
Yeah, you're used to this now. Yeah.
I kind of have to go with what I've already said, which was a 2-1 win.
2-1 win to who though?
To Chelsea, because I have to be the optimist, right?
Yeah, of course, we have to. That's a short
Louis
road.
just blinking away.
That's what I mean. 2020 has been a mad year, like, an unbelievable year. So it's we need to keep the optimism somewhere.
Guys.
I'm just. I want to have what some of Matisse has been drinking. I'm going to be brutally honest, mate. Can you just send it to me? That'd be great. Oh, mate. Oh, it's Bulmer's Originals. He's on it big time. Jesus.
Yo, we're ready, you know.
Oh, mate. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to save myself, any dignity that I have left, because it's just going to be. It's basically going to be the equivalent of Christian Grey giving a spanking. It's just going to be horrible. I've just got a horrible feeling that that's going to happen. And I've said that because you can at least still monetize. If I had any other way I could say it,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be
man.
pretty.
Thanks for thinking about me.
Fine. No, it's good. I care about my friends. But yeah, mate, I just don't think we're going to win at all. If we do win, I'll be dancing around. I don't know where and doing what, but I'll have a bit of hope. You never know. You never know. Let me just.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got I'm going for a draw. I'm going for 2-2. That was my prediction in my preview. I think that's a result I would take. I think that's the type of result that gives you that confidence that you can take forward into future games, because we have a very difficult, run up. We have some difficult games. We've got like Wolves and Watford, a resurgent Watford under Pearson, who are looking really damn good these days too. Plus, Leicester and so many other clubs too. So, we have to, every game we have, it's that cliche, but we have to treat it like it's a cup final. We need to make sure that we are going out there with all we can to do what we can, because even though I do feel very confident that we are going to easily secure like a top 4 finish, as I've been saying, we haven't predicted anything that's happened in 2020. We don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Anything could still go on. So with what we can do, let's make it happen. And I think for the next few minutes, because we're going to wrap things up in literally 10 minutes time. Obviously it gives us 5 minutes to get our TVs on and just get the game on ready, and we're fully suited. I'm sure Mattis will get like another few cans of Bulmers to start relaxing. I mean, it's been ridiculously hot today, hasn't it? Like, I've been absolutely, it's been a struggle today, you guys. Like, of course, I've got all these like studio lights on me too. I've got like no ventilation in this room. Oh, it's an absolute nightmare.
Nearly gonna pass out on stream.
Yeah, God forbid. But I mean, that would just get memed out if that happens. That'd be actually funny if that happens. I know I've got some enemies on Twitter, so they'd have a field day if that happened. But,
you do, fucking hell.
Make accounts, I have to mute. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Let's not even start talking about Twitter. Like that's its own like live stream by itself, really. But yeah, you guys. Of course, let's end with just a few more observations and points. With this game, Louis. How are you feeling in regards to how the team might perform without there being fans in the stadium?
I think it's one of those where it's each person is different, and it's one of those where you can really judge it by the back end of the season to kind of see who's been affected, who's not. I think Marcos Alonso could pull a blinder, because obviously when there's no away fans in this case, obviously there's a specific chant obviously which does seem to affect him quite a lot. I think Pulisic has just had a great season, but it really depends on what's going to happen and how the game's developing, because obviously the 12th man can be important, but if we're going to call a spade, let's be honest, we don't exactly have one of those usually, other than a few blocks in Matthew Harden, a few blocks in the shed. But I think it's a game of football. They've got to go and approach it as simply as that. And then they just got to see what happens basically, and then we can have a look at that once the game's finished.
Yeah, I think that's a very I think that's a fair observation, Mattis.
Do you know what? It's I was obviously watching the first half of the Arsenal game as well. No fans. McCarthy making a blinding mistake to let them score, and I just think concentration is huge when there's no fans. It's a dead silent almost stadium compared to what you're used to. I think the academy players are probably more used to it with their under 23s and the 18 games. That's why I kind of promote playing some more of your Reece Jameses and your Mounts, because they kind of freshen the memory of hearing nothing in their games. You know, I know Mount's had a few loans, but for those seniors, they're really pumped up by the fans, and obviously, you know, you go and take a corner or a free kick and you get that immediate rush from the fans and they're cheering your name, and you're not going to have that. So it's all really just concentration. I think, you know, everybody's just got to be switched on. There's no sleepers, and this is the wrong team to be sleeping against. So as long as everyone can keep their eyes open, and don't
if they're playing football with their eyes closed, I'll be slightly worried.
I know, I'd be worried. I'd be really worried too. So let's hope they do the bare minimum.
Not trying to see too much social distancing in the defense. So
exactly. But just like to touch on the lineup even more, you know, it's quite obvious that this was the lineup picked because of the performances of certain players in the second half against Aston Villa. So obviously Barkley being in there for those reasons too, Pulisic as well, etc., etc. You know, is Lampard right to obviously, you know, keep picking teams based on the previous performances of players?
I think Mount and Barkley have a really good relationship in that midfield. Against teams at home, you know, more or less against low blocks, I'd probably say it's better suited for. But they have a good chemistry in terms of being attacking eights, getting into half spaces, creating opportunities. It's far more dangerous, I'd say, to have them two, and you add Loftus-Cheek fully fit as well, and maybe that's why Chelsea are targeting Havertz as well, who's come out and said he prefers playing in those half spaces on the right side of a three. That kind of player, when you're attacking, is huge, because, you know, there's no use in firing between the lines passes with the defenders or the person playing in a DM if you're going to get into those half spaces, you're not going to do anything. So I think this game's huge for Kante. I think if he can get on the ball and really push his passing now to the next level, get it in between the lines. A lot of people underrate Kante in terms of press resistance. He's very press resistant. He's very good on the ball. He's very good dribbling, getting past players. You know, I remember that Liverpool game in the Super Cup. He was absolutely unbelievable. Unreal. And when he got the ball, he just glided past players, tight areas, skipped past nutmeg.
He's got it.
It's just, for me, it's the passing, because everybody can switch play, everybody can play sideways, but I really want to see him get the ball and zip it into Barkley and Mount, because too many times earlier on in the season, I think you've said this before, Nini, when Mount's in good positions in half space, he's not getting picked out, and he needs to get picked out quickly so he can turn, get on the ball, and then get into those half spaces and get into advanced positions to start creating chances. So it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting, I think.
Really interesting. Louis, I know you've got some thoughts that you just can't wait to just reveal to us.
Yeah, look, I agree with everything. I think... I think Barkley is a big weakness, despite all the praise we're heaping on him now. I just worry about him in this game, losing possession. I think, look, N'Golo Kante, if he does do the recycling like we're talking about, if he does, you know, move into those spaces, pick up the players, I think we're onto a winner in terms of midfield. I almost prefer that we basically have an engine room in this game, because I think that could be massive. And obviously Liverpool have proven already this season. God, I can't believe we might be winning in the Premier League. God. Look, Liverpool have proven this season that sometimes an engine room is massive, and especially against Man City, it can prove to be their kryptonite. So, look, as long as we make all the right decisions, as long as everyone is switched on and no one's eyes are closed, as we've already pointed out, substitute them if they are. Look, I think we could be onto a winner here. So, you know, fingers crossed. That's all I'm going to say. Just please get something.
Yeah, I think fingers crossed, most definitely indeed. But you guys, for the next probably 9 minutes before we wrap things up, we are going to ask some of your questions. You guys, I know you can't see, so I'm going to read it out to you. Don't you worry.
Up here.
Comments always.
You got them up. Hey, you guys, you came prepared. Amazing. So you guys, now is an opportunity to send your questions, any good ones you have. Let me look for some good ones. I think Ruben, James, Tammy will come on second half when City tire. I think that's a fair possibility. When it comes to Ruben, do we think he's going to replace Pulisic on the left, or do you think now that, you know, guys like Willian and Pedro confirmed that they are going to stay until the end of the season, are we going to see Ruben back in midfield so that maybe replace Barkley or Mount?
I think it'd be putting him into midfield would be the wiser move. If we've got let me have a little look at the bench again while my dog is losing his nut. I think he's in the lineup as well. Look, Pedro's on the bench. I think that he'll probably be coming on in those wide spaces. Loftus-Cheek, in terms of power in the middle, could be huge. especially if a Barkley or a Mason Mount, who Mason Mount obviously had a great performance against Villa. If he needs to come off, obviously for rotation purposes, Loftus-Cheek would be massive in there. Same with Kovacic. But if he is put out wide, it could be really big against Kyle Walker. Obviously, in terms of pace, Loftus-Cheek will get done. But if he can just bully him on that left-hand side, it could prove to be.
I mean, Ruben has historically always played well against Man City. For Crystal Palace, had good performances. I remember Ruud Tillett on Match of the Day really praising his performance afterwards. For us, that time when he pushed Yaya Toure to the floor or something. So, he's always had his moments against them. Let's not even forget the Carabao Cup final where he produced an unbelievable piece of skill. The Loftus twist, played Hazard in with an amazingly weighted through ball pass, and then which was wrongfully ruled offside. So I don't know what happened with my voice, and I just literally started stuttering like crazy then. But I think that Ruben could definitely bring some quality and that insurgence that we could be needing as this game does go on. But I am going to find some more questions. We're not going to speak about Ross Barkley because we kind of have spoken about him quite a lot on this stream already, so I apologize to you guys that came late. Let me find a good one. Nini, what about our centre backs? I know Zuma. Oh, that is such a long win. Basically, it comes down to Lampard's, he's not picking defenders based on who are the two best ones. He's picking the synergy. Right now, we need defenders that can move the ball out from the back very quickly. And, he understands that you could be sacrificing some defensive ability. I mean, it's quite obvious that Tomori, Zuma together are better defensively compared to Rudy and Christensen. However, when it comes to playing out from the back, we get caught in our own half a bit too much. Teams find it very easy, and it doesn't work like that. And I think with Zuma playing, he doesn't seem to, he's quite an interesting one, because I felt like if he had the right left-sided centre-back to play with, he could be playing a lot more. But I just think that when you play with a Rudy, you need to have a Christensen beside it. I don't know. It's interesting to know why Lampard does that. But yeah, I think that's my very brief reason as to why I think we keep seeing Rudy and Christensen together. Let me go on. Do you think Pulisic will perform? Mattis, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, I really do, because I think Kyle Walker can be suspect defensively sometimes. I think he does get ahead of himself, overlapping. I think he does leave a bit of space. And it really is just about how closely Pulisic and Giroud can link up in the final third and really establish some sort of chemistry. I think that's going to be huge, because like you said, we don't want them to be isolated. And it's very clear from Frank's comments, he's trying to have Pulisic become this player that arrives in the box late, as he did against Aston Villa. Yeah. So if we can get those crosses in that I spoke about, even if they don't hit Giroud, we just need someone on that back post. Even Mason Mount had a great run against Aston Villa, and Loftus-Cheek was on the back post. We need to have more players on that back post, because the amount of crosses that come across and we don't take advantage with the ball coming across and there's someone at the end of it, is crazy. So Pulisic, that's his main job today for sure.
Yeah, nice answer. I saw a good question earlier in regards to Kovacic and Barkley starting over him. Of course, I think Kovacic is becoming a bit of a touchy subject on socials and stuff like that. If you don't have him in your first team, people feel like it's a massive disrespect to the player and nothing about football. But do you think there's valid reasons as to why Lampard wouldn't always start covering games? I'll let you take that one, man.
It's very simple football, that, and it's rotation. We've got a game every 3 days basically for the next month. We have to rotate players, otherwise we're going to suffer burnout. And would you rather have your best players fit and coming on in games and producing, or unfit and doing nothing? I think I can answer that question for everybody. Look, if obviously we don't have the same depth as Man City, nah. Kovacic has been our best player of the season, 100%. But look, we need to win games. And I know that completely goes against what I've just said, where I'm saying you should be starting your best players. But if it comes to rotation and it means that we have to put him on to try and make a bit of a difference, and he can do that because he has fresher legs than other players, I'm happy with that. I just think it's fairly self-explanatory. And to be honest, when it comes to the socials now, I kind of just put my opinion out there and put my phone down. I don't really care what anyone thinks.
I'm starting to like that too, man. Yeah,
it's one of those where it's I've put it out there. That's what I think. End of, finished. If you don't like it, lump it. That's as simple. It's as simple as that.
Gets that.
Yeah, mate. But it's I think it's just simply down to rotation that he's not starting.
Yeah, I think just before I let you take it on, Matters, I think one thing that we don't like when it comes to like assessing players and analyzing them, for me to like be really objective, every single player you look at, you have to look at their positives and negatives, because there's no perfect player. You know, you could even criticize Messi for not having a right foot, even though stats show that he scored so many more goals with his weaker foot compared to Ronaldo. So for me, maybe the only example of a player that has no weakness. But you know, with Cover, does he bring anything in the final third? I think every time he's been praised this season has been when he's been playing very close alongside Jorginho in the pivot, where, you know, they're receiving the balls in the half turn on the halfway line, just, you know, beating that press, kickstarting attacks, and Cover driving with the ball. But when it comes to, let's say, breaking a team down that's defending, or just adding that creative spark in attack in the final third, are we seeing that? And if you're asking me, I don't think we consistently do. And I think that's the main reason why Lampard has decided to start Barkley, because of course Barkley's impact against Aston Villa was far greater than Cover's, who I thought was very quiet. And I watched the game twice and I still can't remember too much of what Cover did in that game.
Yeah.
So Mattis, I'll let you take that one, man.
Do you know what's really interesting about this team? I'm very surprised that this is not the midfield we saw against Aston Villa and Cover playing today. Because if you look at Cover, he's played really well against the likes of Bayern Munich, high technical games where we're playing against elite opposition. And elite midfielders. He's definitely very technical and very good in tight spaces, very good at keeping the ball. This is the kind of game I would have expected to see him, and not Villa, because Villa's is a low block. He didn't play very well against Villa, as you said, and I would have expected a Ross Barkley in that kind of game where we're up against a low block. We don't really need to be in tight spaces. We're going to be obviously dominating possession, and we need to have some sort of cutting edge. So it's confusing for me that it's the other way around, but, you know, because of the way he started, obviously he did start the game against Villa, then there is no surprise he's not in the team today, because it is rotation, as Louis said. But I'm a bit surprised it is this way around, because I thought he was really good against Bayern Munich, and I think he excels in games like this where it is going to be such a high techie performance. Really, it's going to have to.
Yeah, no, you are right, because let's not forget he was the one that made the assist for Kante's goal when we lost 2-1 against him earlier this season. And of course, against teams that are going to press him in midfield, his ability to just bypass that can be helpful. But I guess Lampard feels now that with Kante allowing like two midfielders to really just like push forward and bomb on, that means Cover's game would have to adapt. And maybe when it comes to playing more expansively like that, where he has to have a lot more attacking responsibility like placed on him, I don't think he's that player. So, you know, Cover for me is just like a, you know, like a deep line. Can't even call him like a deep line player. He's like a Frankie de Jong type of player. I've used that example so many times. He's best on the halfway line. I think anywhere else, he just don't really get the same type of player. So it's going to be curious to see how he's used, especially for next season too. I get the impression that he's going to be more of a rotation player, if you're asking me. But you guys, I think that's going to be it. We need to like wrap things up now and keep things moving. Of course, the game's going to be starting in literally 4 minutes time. So yeah, Louis, if you want to just let the people know where to find you, where you're going to be at.
I'm just praying. Give me 2 seconds.
That's it. If you just take that away then.
Find me, basically just type in my name and it'll come up. It's a very long-winded name, so I'll spell it. It's so Louis Beneventi, so Beneventi. All on all social platforms. That's just where you can find me, and obviously my personal channel, which is ironically called Louis Beneventi as well. That's there. And please do check out the Chelsea Echo, which is obviously a Chelsea news site. Thanks for having me on, Nini.
Amazing. Of course, man, been very fun having you on. And Mattis, man, where can the people find you at? What are you doing right now? What's happening?
If you want to see me active, usually that's going to be on Twitter, where I put videos up. Most of my football content goes up there, and that's where it's easy to access everything else. I'm on part of the Cheeky Sport team now, which is great. We're going to do a lot of content, podcast streams. Obviously, we have the Instagram as well. So, yeah, you can probably find me in those two places. MAH, type that in onto Twitter and you'll find me there. Probably in the midst of some sort of debate I don't need to be involved in.
Fair enough.
Especially at 3 o'clock in the morning, right, mate?
Yeah, of course. Calm down those bombers today, man. But on that note, you guys, that is going to be me for today. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Game starting 3 minutes time. I know the lineups are what we thought, But we are still Chelsea Football Club. We are Chelsea fans. You know, we can never just rule ourselves out over anything. We're not that type of club. So let's see what happens. Let's support the guys. Let's keep the faith. And you guys, afterwards, you'll find my match reviews and player ratings right after the game. So stay tuned. I'm in the FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll see you guys later, hopefully, after we've won the game.